You know, one of the best inspirations you're going to find for stories and story ideas is history itself. And here is relatively famous Vermonter named William Scott, also referred to as the Sleeping Sentinel. And he was born here in Groton, Vermont in 1839. He enlisted in Company K of the 3rd Vermont Infantry Regiment at the outbreak of the Civil War. And in 1861, he was found asleep at his post on sentry duty, which is an offense punishable by court-martial and execution if you are found guilty. He was subsequently court-martialed, found guilty, and scheduled for execution. Well, there was a backstory to all that. You see, he had filled in for a friend of his the previous night who was sick. And then after doing that sentry duty, he had his usual days, duties, routines, drills, chores, whatever. Then he had to go on for his scheduled sentry that night. So basically, you know, he had almost 24 hours with no sleep and still doing a full day's work. So while he's standing there, he fell asleep naturally, and he was found by his commanding officer. Well, his whole unit knew about it. And even, you know, his other, his officers, a lot of people wrote letters to the president asking for clemency. And finally, his father showed up at the White House and asked President Lincoln to take mercy on his son and grant him a pardon, because, you know, he needed him on the farm, and his son was not a coward. He was not a derelict. He wasn't shirking his duties. He was a brave and good soldier. And Lincoln listened to all of that and granted him a pardon on September 9th in 1861. William Scott went on to serve with, distinguished service, fought bravely, and died just a few days after his 23rd birthday in 1865 at the Battle of Lee's Mills. And this stretch of highway going from Barrie to the Connecticut River is known as the William Scott Memorial Highway, or the Sleeping Sentinel Highway. And I believe there were a lot of poems and things written about him. And so if you get a chance, you want to hear a good story, or you want to read a good story, get online and Google William Scott, the Sleeping Sentinel.